Hey guys, welcome to the woods. Well, I got a great spot, except everywhere I keep moving along this shore is like the sun's coming right on me. So it's right sort of between these trees now, so hopefully it stays that way. Because the contrast between this little bit of shade I'm getting right now and sun glaring in my eyeballs and I can't see the screen at all is gonna be a deal breaker. All right, so I had some really strong, loving sense of things this morning. And I thought about this point. I think it's really important, imperative even, to chew on your sense of who you are and really what's expected of you. It's like whoever really wants to talk about what on the deepest level, like from God, Jesus, your church, your parents, whatever your paradigm is, what's expected of you. Or what would even be considered a good job compared to not a good job. And I think that plays everything to do with your success in your marriage, in your friendships with others, in your sense of the way you're governed by other people, like your whole sense of your government, your everything, all aspects of your success in life pivot on this point. And I know right now it feels like a sort of a schism if you even follow what I'm saying yet, and I'll give it more definition. But your sense of who you are in relation to what do you think that something bigger than you wants out of us. And you get it into the us, and then it starts getting into what other people and stuff. So really it's what is, maybe the easiest way really for me to say is just to say, what does God really want from me? What would he love to see me do, be, say, have, whatever? I would say no matter what narrative you come up with of who you would define your God as, I would hope that you'd come to the most helicopter view, the most boiled down to simplicity, that God just wants you to feel as unconditionally loved about yourself as he feels about yourself, about who you are. He unconditionally loves you, has no expectations. Feels funny for me even to say the he. But I'm trying to, you can say the same thing. I talk about it energetically all the time, and I get it. It's like that's, you get hung up in a word too. Words have vibrations and they just fit differently. I grew up Catholic, so I totally am comfortable with the God, Jesus, and I went through years of feeling like, what's the expectation? Not in a outward way and harsh, and no one would say that. Say, oh, I think everyone would say, I agree, he probably wants me to love myself more. And certainly he loves me more than I love myself. We talk about unconditional love, but very few people say this is like how you get there. So if loving you was what would, unconditionally loving you, let's put it this way, unconditionally loving myself to the same degree that God does would be his ultimate dream. I just want you to love and accept yourself as deeply as I love and accept you. That's where I keep going back into different dialogues. Am I God or am I me? So, but you get the point, right? So if that's what we're really after, why we spend so much energy trying to do so much outside of that arena and talk so little and focus so little on that arena of self-love, acceptance of what is? And we'll talk about all the narratives of the things going on around us, but we all know that's just a reflection, right? To the degree that I love and accept myself, I can love and accept those outside and all things that are happening outside of me. So all you got to do is know what you're projecting. Whatever you're projecting out is what you're going to get in, because the wavelengths of vibration has to match, which is why I kind of go back to the vibration point. It's really what it really boils down to. You vibrationally have to own the sense of yourself to feel worthy enough to let that be your experience. So if you're going to succeed in business, you've got to own the worthiness of owning the business, or being that right-hand person, or being that support staff, or being that whatever it is you're doing. You got to own the worthiness of doing that, right? And if you can own worthiness for something beyond, then that's where you're going to go. So we see it in success in life, in your relationship. The more I love and accept myself, the more I can love and accept my partner. The more I communicate honestly and I'm always looking for my strengths and building on my narrative with myself and speaking kinder to myself, it's just going to reflect to and from my partner, right? So we're not talking about spirituality really here. We're talking about the key to life. The key to life is to love on yourself. Master that technique. That's the most important thing. You love on yourself, you build worthiness. And when you have worthiness, then you can allow the ethers around you. The universe has everything we want. Now, when you're really loving on yourself, you won't be needing these weird things, so you might actually end up with less. So I'm not saying, it's all about materialism. But it's not about not materialism either. It's just about self-love and accepting. Accepting my little inner nudge to be a certain way or have a certain something or whatever it is that's nudging me, that's okay. But what we would want to look for if we're going to try to, here's my point first. So we would really all say, yeah, I got a program of self-love and I do love myself and I agree with what you're saying and that's my program too. I'm all with you. Go for it, Dan. See you later. But I say, but really, I don't see many people on a program of how do I build self-love. In fact, most of the time, to be honest with you, in conversation, I get a lot of opposition to self-love. A lot of people are like, that seems egotistical, or that seems like it's all about me. I got to be all about them. I got to fix them. I got to fix something outside of myself. I'm okay. I'm just going to work on these things. So there's somewhere in there's a little bit of a rub to sort of avoid the project of self-love. Because when you go within and say, well, there's love for me, but there's this thing, and there's that thought, and there's this way of being, and certainly none of us are rising to the occasion of what God expects out of us. Of course, He's not really so pleased. We've got this problem, and that problem, and that problem, and that problem, and I was going to do this, and I could have done that, and I could have been this, and I should have done that. And so God can't really be all that happy with us. So then there's that sense of like, there went all your energy. You're done. If your sense of whatever your sense of God is doesn't unconditionally love you, you don't know and own that, then you're going to struggle. You're not going to be as happy as you could be. And you're not going to be as successful, and you're not going to be as risk-taking, and you're not going to be as outgoing, and you're not going to be as adventurous, and you're not going to give the planet what you came here with. You can't do it. You can't put out that big, powerful sense of who you really are without a really hefty dose of self-love. And we would sort of say, well, that would be egotism. If everybody was self-loving themselves and just left everyone else alone, we'd have a mess. And I'm like, no, we wouldn't. We'd have heaven on earth. And that's not a thing I'm trying to build. I'm trying to own more self-love, and I just don't find much dialogue out there about the importance of it. And I'm like, I think it's number one. It's the only thing that matters, is you loving unconditionally yourself. Don't love anything around you. Don't think anything's going right. Just work on yourself. Let that go. But what doesn't let us let it go is our fear of something that needs to happen, something we need to do, something we need to fix, something we need to earn. What are we trying to fix, do, and earn? Self-love and acceptance. Where can you get that? Only from yourself. No one can give you that. God can't even give that to you. He can hold His sense of everything's perfect and you're perfect, but He can't give you the sense that you're perfect. my sense of self-love and my acceptance of what is at the deepest level. Only I can give that to myself. So, go on to the next point. What do we do? How does it evade us? Why do so many people say they love each other but themselves, but they really don't? You can tell by people's dialogues and how they interpret their world around them and how they talk about themselves. Rarely very positive. And if it is very, very positive, usually it's sort of shunned on a little bit. Like, it's kind of getting awkward, you know? But anyway, to you and me on our journey, just self-love of myself is all I'm after here. It's all I'm trying to give. And out of that will bloom what I want to express. What's my personality? What's my little nudge of loveliness that will come out? Not a doing thing. It's not some accomplishment that you're going to pass on to the other side and say, you did it all, you did the hard work. No, it's just, this is the hard work, loving on yourself. So I was going to get to a thing to watch for. So, how do you know when you're not loving yourself? One of the things that we don't realize that's, like the anti-love is judgment. So judgment is when you're not loving on yourself. So you might judge yourself on some aspects, but say, I still love myself, but I judge this thing. Well, how do you know you're judging it? You're just calling it less than preferred. Less than preferred is all you need. That's judgment. Well, I'd like it to be something different than it is, and I'm judging it to be improper in its perfection as it is now. It needs to be a little different. You're judging it. I could have done this a little different, but I still love myself. I could have been a little more of this, but I still love myself. That's all fine, but where's the part I'm not loving about myself? That judgment stuff. So really, if you want to get to the deep part of it, all you're going to say is that anything that you're wishing was different outside of yourself and eventually inside of yourself, anything you wish was different is judgment. Acceptance of what is unconditional love. Acceptance of what is in this energy ball that I call Dan Hicks is my job one, and it's my only job. And the better I am at it, the better everything flows. The better my business is, the better my relationships are, the better my love is, the better my love from others is, the better experience I get from other people, the better experience I experience from everything around me, the less anything bothers me. And the quieter your mind, and the calmer your body, and the healthier of the whole vibrational ball. And when you're putting out love and acceptance of everything around you, love and acceptance comes right back in, and you're in bliss. Simple. Simple but tricky. You got to stay at it all the time. It's like, I got to fall back in. I fall back into self-judgment. No one's going to admit that they don't love each other. No one's going to admit that they're judging themselves. You got to look for it. You got to be digging for that stuff. Not like I'm going to go root through my past and find all the things I've done wrong. You're not looking for it in that respect. You're just acknowledging it when it's crossing through your mind and the dialogue that you have. It's self-awareness. You got to slow down to get self-aware. You got to put some things down. You got to stop trying to do and fix. And prove yourself and become worthy of and all that stuff. You were trying to you're trying to do something for someone else. You're trying to be worthy because you're judging yourself, right? It's all the same. All the outward doing is inward lack of perfection. And any inward lack of perfection that you're perceiving of yourself is what's going to be holding you back. That's what needs to love. So, love what arises. Matt Kahn wrote a book on that, and I thought it's just perfect. It's so true. It really boils it down to its finest essence. Love what arises. What comes up in your life that you say, wrong, wrong, wrong. Love on yourself. It's somewhere tied in. It's complicated. It never looks the same out there, but what you don't like out there, it's what you don't like inside. The roots are connected. Energetically, the vibration's the same, but the dialogue will be totally different. So you get mixed up and you say, no, I love that I'm this, and I don't love that they are that. Well, that they're that not being loved is really your own self-judgment. That gets a little bit, there you are in the knot right there. So I just nudge you to lean the direction towards accepting what is, accepting yourself the way you are, loving what little bit of yourself you can grab onto and love. And every time you feel a little less than loving and a little more fearful or something like that, or something should change or be different, or I feel motivated to go fix or change something, just pause and get conscious of your breath. And there you are, you're in the moment. And you only can change that dialogue in your head and that sense of things in the moment. So you're in the moment, magical. I don't know is the answer. I don't know. Things could go a lot of different ways and they'd all be right. So then why do we have a preference? It's like, well, I don't want to suffer. I don't want anyone else to suffer. Well, where does suffering come from? A lack of love of yourself is the real suffering, that only suffering that ever really happens. I think that's a good place to end it. It's 15 minutes. So I love you guys, and love is all there is, and love is the answer to what ails you. So why talk about love? There's nowhere else to go. There's no way to get around it. But you can have a more lovely day. Take a minute and say something nice about yourself. Appreciate yourself. Give yourself a break. Let yourself off the hook. Know that you're unconditionally loved. You can't mess this up. What you came in with, the struggles you came in with, you've done the best you can. Everyone's doing the best they can. If we could do better, we would. Now, if you want to be powerful and you want to do great, amazing things in your life, where's that power come from, that strength? It comes out of self-love. Because when you self-love and you're accepting everything around you, whew, the bandwidth, you just sit back on the couch with your hands up and like, it's all, no matter where it all goes, it's going to be fine. Now what do I want to get up and do? What do I want to do? I don't need to go fix anything. And I'm not going to go do for myself. I'm going to go help other people to learn to relax and love on yourself. Take the time that's to do the only thing you're here to do. Love on yourself. Anyway, I think I've said that around and around a few times. All right, guys. So, you know the drill. I'll see you soon. And, throw some love bombs and get on the love train, and welcome to the woods. Get out here and, bond with real life, not the life that the news wants you to think is going on out there. That's an interpretation. All right, I'm rambling now for sure. See you guys.